Okay, I gotta start over. Okay. Oh, let me do all that again. Okay. So next up, I wanted to. Hi, and welcome to our What Sold video for July 14th through 20th, where we will go over every item that sold across every platform for our reselling business. Let's dive in. Before we get started, I also wanted to quickly answer a question that was asked on eBay. This question was asked by Mike, and he and his wife wanted to know how they could mail us something. And unfortunately, I can't answer any questions like that through eBay because eBay flags any messages that they see as doing business outside of eBay. And you can actually get in big trouble for doing business outside of eBay, and your account can, get suspended, or you can get in big trouble. You can lose your account for that. So we do have to be really careful about responding to messages like that. And so that's why I have not responded to your message. I'm not ignoring you. So I'm going to answer the question here, and you can mail us things to our P.O. box. And that P.O. box address is located in our description box below on every YouTube video. You do have to kind of scroll down to find it. It is in the lower part of the description box. But that's how you can mail us anything. And you can also reach out to us by direct message on Facebook and Instagram, and I will put our handle on the screen here, but you can find us there at Nina's Jewels LLC, and that's another way that you can also reach out to us with any questions or anything like that if you ever want to ask us anything and you don't want to ask it in the comments on a YouTube video. So one more quick thing to get out of the way before we move on. This video is sponsored, and we are super grateful for that because we spend about 5 to 8 hours preparing for, recording, and editing our videos, which we wouldn't do if we didn't love, but it does take a lot of time. So we are super grateful that this video is sponsored by Posh Sidekick. So we want to thank Posh Sidekick for that and tell you about their great product. Sidekick manages your Poshmark closet with advanced learning machine software. It works intelligently. Here's just a few of the things it does. It shares your closet the maximum times in a day, all day long, and it works even when you're sleeping. Sidekick does something I think is really cool, which is targeted follows. And that means that it will only follow people who like things that you're selling. And that results in warm leads. Then Posh Sidekick sends offers to likers, and that results in sales. These are just a few of the things that Sidekick does. I can personally attest to how well it works. And Sidekick has provided a coupon code to our viewers, which is the Nina's Jewels 10. You can get 10% off of your subscription with our coupon code, and there is a link in the description box below. All right, let's get started on our what sold. All right, so the first thing that we sold was a Kate Spade dress. It was called Broom Street by Kate Spade, and it was a black and white gingham check dress. This was sold on eBay for $47.18, and we paid $2 for this at a garage sale.
This was the J. Crew garage sale.
Yep.
I remember that.
We found this in a big pile on a blanket on the ground.
Yeah, it was nice. There's a lot of goodies in that.
Next up was a 1988 Donruss MVP bonus baseball card for the player Will Clark.
Will the Thrill.
This, are you going to do the nicknames every time? Is that like your thing now?
What? I mean, come on. I don't have many things. That's Will the Thrill.
So this sold for $2.39, came from Kevin's personal collection. Next up was a skirt by a brand I've never heard of called CCF. It was a chartreuse floral chiffon A-line button detail skirt. This was gifted to us to sell, and it sold for $10 on Poshmark. Next up was a vintage 1996 Billa.
Yeah, I guess that's how I'd pronounce it. Billa.
Special edition Mr.
Adithian. I would say Adithian as well.
Mr. Moon and Me quilt top cross stitch pattern. This sold for a lot. We paid, in my opinion, we paid $1 for this at a garage sale. It sold for $29.99, and it sold fast.
Yeah, I mean, we only paid $1. That was a good one. That was at the Holly Hobby sale.
Yeah. Next up was this was a Chinese brass censer incense burner, and it was marked on the bottom with markings that said Xuande Ming Dynasty. We got this at a garage sale for $5 and it sold for $65.69 on auction. And I listed it as vintage/antique because even though I think it was a vintage replica of an antique, it was still really old. It was old.
It was a very old copy of something very, very old.
Yes. So
I think it could have been real.
I don't think it was.
But I don't think so.
Like,
I think
truly,
it was. I think it was a replica.
It was a replica. I'm pretty sure, but I couldn't be sure. I'm not an expert on like Chinese antiques or anything like that. I'm not.
What are you going to use that degree for?
I have a lot of skills, but
she has a degree in ancient Chinese artifacts. She doesn't even use it.
I do not.
I
lied to you.
Did I click on the wrong profile? Okay.
I lied to you. No, so what I put in the item description of this item, which I totally stole from somebody else's listing. I cannot take credit for this. This is what I put, and I thought it was really well written, which is why I borrowed it from somebody else's listing. I put marked on base. I'm no expert, but other burners with the same marks claim Ming Dynasty, Xuande period. I do not make claims that this is an original piece or a vintage replica. I thought that was like such a well-written kind of.
That's a good way to get around it.
You can't get me in any.
That's true.
In anything.
But it was clearly old.
Yeah.
Like you can tell it had tarnished on the spot that I cleaned up a little bit.
Yeah.
It was clearly old and it clearly was hand etched.
Yes.
You could tell it was hand etched.
I think it was likely from like the 1930s to 1950s period.
But no idea.
I couldn't be sure. So.
But who cares?
I made no claims.
Who cares? We made $42.50 off
We did. We did well on that either way. So, or we might have gotten totally ripped off. It might have been worth thousands of dollars.
$100,000. Yeah. Sucker.
Yeah, and some guy was like laughing his way to the bank.
I'm not greedy. I'm not greedy. Good for that guy.
Yeah, true.
We turned $5 into 40. I will take it every time.
Exactly. So next up was a lot of 2 Lego sets. It included a Harry Potter like poly bag set and a box of classic white pieces that we got. One at a garage sale. The Harry Potter set came from a garage sale and the classic white set came from the bins. So we were all in on these for $3.36 and they sold for a combined price of $12.68. But they sold fast.
Yeah.
So,
really fast, easy to ship.
Yeah. Next up was a DVD set of a British police drama called Taggart.
Taggart.
And it was brand new and sealed.
I guess if it's British, it'd be Taggart.
Yeah, that sounded a little more Australian.
That sounded more Australian.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. Oh, Taggart.
Yeah, probably a little bit.
Oh, come here, Taggart.
Yeah. If there's any British
we
people,
have a case for you.
Oh my goodness. If there's any British people watching, they are dying laughing at you right now.
Taggart.
This is why I'm not doing it. That's your Sean Connery.
Taggart.
Yeah. Trebek.
Taggart. Taggart. In my office, Taggart.
But sir, what have I done?
Oi, Taggart. In me office.
Oh, wow! You went. Wow, that's a good one too. Oi, sir, what have I done?
Here, Taggart. In the office.
I can't do that one.
Oh, Taggart.
Oh, sir, what have I done?
Oh, that one hurt.
Let's try it again. Do that one again.
Oh. The French one?
Yeah, the French one.
Oh, Taggart. Taggart. Taggart.
Oh, sir, what have I done?
You're guilty, all right.
Do Russian.
Taggart.
Do Russian.
Taggart. 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 In office.
What are pitfalls?
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Taggart. What are pitfalls of this investigation? That was such a fake Russian accent. That was like a Boris and Natasha level.
Okay, so I don't even know if I said, but that one sold for $19.99, and we paid $1.41 for that at the bins.
Nice.
All right, next up was a garden and gun magazine that let's see, where did we get this? We got this for free. It was gifted to us to sell from someone on Facebook Marketplace. And that sold for $10.38. Next up was a pair of Barbie clone boots, cowboy boots. These we got at a garage sale for 50 cents, and they sold for $11 on Mercari.
Isn't that the one where we had like 3 or 4 pairs of those?
Yeah.
You had 3 or 4 that are exactly the same, pairs of them, and we sold 2 or 3 already?
Yeah. Next up was a Star Wars Mandalorian pencil topper of Boba Fett. And it was like a finders keepers kind of blind bag toy, but it was loose. It was out of the packaging. We got this in a toy bag from the thrift store. We paid 20 cents for it, and it sold for $7.48. Next up, I wanted to share a TikTok video that I saw. This is from a fellow reseller and creator on TikTok named C. Shelby BTQ. And I will link her original video and her account in our description box below. And after you watch our What Sold video, I would encourage you guys to head over to TikTok and follow her and show her some love. But I do want to mention if you do comment on her video, make sure to keep any comments to her civil. Of course, I feel like I need to say that, but I know that all of our regular viewers will of course do that because you guys are the best. So let's watch this video together and then we'll discuss it.
So I just had somebody extremely rude walk up to me and ask me if I was going to resell all this stuff. And she said that I was extremely rude because there are people who really need 99-cent items and that everyone in the store is talking about me. I have an awesome girl who's here every Sunday who helps me box up all my stuff that is likely headed to the landfill. And she wanted to confirm that what happens with all the stuff that I'm getting today.
So the color of the week after the cycle, they're out for about a month and then they're on sale. And then whatever doesn't sell, we pull off and it goes to the outlet bins, and if they don't sell there.
Exactly. Thank you. Okay, now that I have all my stuff in the car, I'm still a little bit shook, not gonna lie, but I am more calm, especially like afterwards. The Goodwill employees really tried to, be kind to me and, confirm about what I already know about that most of the stuff that even is 99 cents today does not get bought at all. They say it actually just saves a ton of work for them because they end up picking it. So back up, what happened? I was at the checkout, with my big mound of clothes, and this woman comes up to me and she was like, "Are you going to resell all of that?" And I said, "Most of it." And, I'm open about it that I'm a reseller. I'm proud to be a reseller. I keep stuff out of landfills, it is my job. And the woman was like, "Well, that's extremely rude." And I'm like, "Oh, I would disagree," or something like that. She was like, "There's plenty of people in here that," I'm like sweating because, oh my gosh, sorry guys. There's plenty of people in here that need to buy clothes for 99 cents. And I told her, and I was like, most of these clothes are going to end up in landfills. I think you're just a little bit misinformed. And she was like, "I need 99 cents clothes." And so I immediately was just like, "Are there any in here that you would like?" It's not even like I take all of the 99 cents clothes. I take the ones that are good for resale. There are plenty of other red tags, which was the color of this week, for other people to choose from. I am just, the fact that she was saying I was rude, just coming up to someone and saying such mean things, even if they were true, just spreading that amount of hatefulness Like, that's what's rude, obviously. Like, even if I disagree with someone, I don't need to go up to them and make them feel like shit. You know? Sorry, I'm like affected again. Obviously, I know she's misinformed. I'm not going to take what she says to heart. The Goodwill people were like, please don't make this make you not come back on Sundays. And I was like, I won't let her, you know, affect me like that. I think I'm just emotional because, again, just someone was so hateful to me. When what I do, I truly do it because I believe it makes a positive difference in the world. Yes, I make money off of it, but that's how I create my livelihood. This is a free country. It's not like I walked into this Goodwill and was like, okay, all red tag stuff for 99 cents. Like, you know, I'm going to hold it hostage. No one can have any. Like, everyone has the same ability to walk in whatever time they want and buy what they want. Like, if she was that concerned, she could have gotten in earlier, gotten to aisles different than maybe she did originally, like to have access to different stuff. Anyways, there's no like rationalizing it. People are just gonna, you know, think what they want, be misinformed, disagree. I obviously have tons of sympathy for folks who are in need of clothing, and there are tons of nonprofits that's their goal. And lots of, you know, programs and initiatives that provide those sorts of resources. Goodwill's charity is not to provide thrifted clothing. Goodwill's charity is to make money off of the donated goods that they get, which is like the thrifted goods, and then use that money for community programs that make a difference. The charity is not providing low-cost clothes. People need to understand that and stop hating on resellers. And even if you're going to disagree, like, and you can't change your mind, like, that's fine. Just stop being hateful to other people. Thanks.
So this is not the first time that we've heard the whole concept of stealing from the poor, that resellers are stealing from the poor as a concept. In fact, we've had this comment on multiple of our videos on YouTube and on Instagram and on TikTok. People say this to us and to other resellers all the time. And I'm not really sure where this idea of resellers stealing from the poor has come from, but it's something that people say to resellers a lot.
It's one of those, before YouTube, people have been doing that ever since there's been thrift stores. It's been happening the entire time.
Yeah.
It's just that it wasn't advertised because you didn't see a YouTube video or a TikTok or something about it. But they've been doing that since thrift stores were a thing. Resellers have been going to thrift stores.
But as far as like her interaction with the person and offering the stuff out of her cart, I thought her response was fine.
That's the best you can do.
Yes.
It's like, well, any of these things that I'm picking up,
do you want them?
You can look through my basket first, and you can take whatever of those items you want to buy, unless you're going to resell them.
Yeah. And also
wouldn't that be funny? It was a fake argument, and it was another reseller who's just trying to scare her out of the store to get all the good stuff.
And also educating them that everything's going to the landfill, because they are misinformed. You guys know that Kevin and I resell for a couple of different reasons. We resell to keep stuff out of the landfill, and we resell to supplement our income. And our tagline is actually adorn your world, preserve the planet. That's like the actual tagline of our company. So if you didn't know that, now you do.
Got tagged.
So the environmental piece is actually huge to us. It's so important to us that it is actually part of our tagline. And so just to talk about the whole environmental impact and why the whole stealing from the poor aspect is so how misinformed that person actually is. that we as humans have like such a major problem with overproduction and overconsumption, like specifically with fashion items. And I'm going to read and look at some statistics for you guys. And it really is mind-boggling when you start thinking about it. But 100 billion garments are produced each year. And of that 100 billion garments, 1.92 million tons of textile waste is produced every year. Not in total, every year, 1.92 million tons of textile waste is produced every year. And the average US consumer throws away almost 82 pounds of clothing every year. Once a year, every person throws away almost 82 pounds of clothing. Just let that sink in for a minute.
I guess shoes count as a pound or two, but still, that's a lot of clothes. That is a lot. Every year?
Every year. And so those are just some of the statistics, and that doesn't even broach the subject of emissions and water waste that go into the fashion industry. And trust me, that is also mind-boggling. So many of the donated clothes from the US, these are like the clothes that go into a lot of those donation boxes that you see around, or even clothes that you donate to Goodwill or other thrift organizations. A lot of those clothes end up on the coastline of Africa, specifically Ghana. Ghana is a country that the US has deals with to accept a lot of our donated clothing. And the coastline of Ghana and other coastlines in Africa are just completely polluted with textiles and old clothing. And I'm not going to show you any pictures here because honestly, it's seriously depressing. And once you see it, like you can't unsee it, but I would encourage you, because it is important to be educated about this, to go look up pictures of what the coastline of Accra, Ghana looks like. But it is just like thick with clothing. Just shocking once you see it. And there are tons of really good articles about this. I actually recently finished watching a documentary on HBO called Brandy Hellville and the Cult of Fast Fashion. And it was super enlightening about waste in the fashion industry. So if you are interested in this topic, I would encourage checking that out. But basically, there is enough clothing already existing in the world where we could stop making clothing today and there would be enough clothing for years and years and years to clothe all of the people of the world. So the idea that resellers are stealing from the poor is just utterly ridiculous. And anybody who ever says that to a reseller just doesn't know what they are talking about. And I don't think that you could effectively argue with somebody like that in a scenario of that, but just know that that is completely untrue. And that argument does not hold water. Plus, just like Shelby said, we are not fighting with people for things. We are gonna let somebody else have first dibs on something. And we're not the people at the bins either that are like lined up to get into the bins first.
People to get in it. No.
Usually, actually what I've found is that if I just let somebody go first, they're usually looking for something completely different than what I'm looking for. That's just been my experience. And if the new carts come out and I let somebody else shop that new cart first, generally they're taking stuff that's completely different than what I'm looking for.
I wouldn't necessarily want to sell that anyway.
And even if they do take something that I wanted, I just think it's just not that big of a deal. I'm going to find something else later anyway.
There's plenty of stuff.
There's so much stuff to go around, and that's just kind of my attitude about it.
Stuff.
There is too much stuff. So that's generally our attitude about it, and let me know what your attitude about it is. Have you ever been accused of stealing from the poor? And if you did, how did you respond to the situation?
I mean, did you actually steal from the poor? Like go and take something from a poor person? Well, then we're not friends with you.
Yeah.
But if you're just a reseller.
All right, so before we continue, I want to pause for just a minute and ask you guys to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button, especially if you are all about keeping stuff out of the landfill, please make sure to hit that subscribe button.
Keep us out of the landfill.
Definitely keep us out of the landfill. All right, let's move on. The next item up was 2 of the tanerite stickers that we found in the Goodwill bins. These we paid $1.34 for, and they sold for $15.18. Next up was a pair of my old shoes. This was a pair of nude strappy rainbow wedge espadrille sandals by the brand Charles David.
And we found out on a previous video that espadrille means that it has like the jute ropey type stuff on it.
That's true.
I did not know that before that video.
Good job, you remembered.
I do.
So these were mine, and they sold for $19 on Poshmark. Next up was a knit top by the brand French Laundry. It was a plus size gray Swiss polka dot top, and this was gifted to us to sell. It sold for $15.98.
Okay, good feedback on that.
I saw that. Next up was a pair of Gap women's trousers. They were bootcut mid-rise dress pants. These were also gifted to us, and they sold for $29.99. Next up was a really cute Spirit Halloween one size plush pug dog full head mask.
Cool.
It was like unfortunately we got so many good things at this garage sale, but our video footage was like messed up. So we don't have footage at this sale for you guys, but it was this like plush kind of full head mask that came down over your shoulders, and it had a moving jaw. So when you opened your mouth, like the dog mouth opened, and it looked like you were really wearing a stuffed animal on your head, basically. And it had kind of a loose eye, but it was just unglued. And so we bought it, and we were able to repair it. And it was so cute. And we listed it for $30, for like $39.99. It sold for $30. We had paid $3 for that at the garage sale. Oh. Next up was a royal blue lace bra by the brand Tarte Noir. It was a bralette, and it was in the size extra small, so a very difficult size to sell. We had no cost on this, and it sold for $6.63. It took a very long time to sell, so we did not make much profit on that. We were just glad to get rid of it. Next up was a Little People, Fisher-Price Little People 2016 cowboy figure. This we got in the bins for $1.03, and it sold for $8.24. Next up was a vintage Nissen brand. That was the brand Nissen. Black and white MLRS.
Isn't that the same brand as the ramen noodles? Ooh.
Maybe.
I think it's the same company? I think it's spelled the same. You conglomerates, man. You never know. They make noodles and trucker hats. I don't know. But it sure looks like the same one. Maybe I'm missing a letter in there somewhere.
I don't know. This was some kind of military thing. It was a rocket launcher trucker cap. And we got this at a church rummage sale for 42 cents. It was a fill-a-bag sale, and this sold for $15 even. Next up was a pair of Croc heels, like slip-on sandal heels. These took kind of a while to sell, but all Crocs always eventually sell for us. And these sold for $37.99. We got those at a garage sale for $3.
I think I got those at when I went to by myself.
Yeah.
Everything I bought that day sold.
Yeah.
There was a socket set, 2 board games, and that pair of Crocs. It's all gone. That was a good sale.
Next up was a vintage set of 6 brown mid-century modern drip glaze ombre stoneware coffee cups. They were marked made in Korea. We got these at a garage sale for just $1, the whole set for $1. And they sold on Etsy for $44.99.
We don't sell on Etsy much.
We don't sell on Etsy much. And actually, that's something I wanted to mention. We do have several things listed on Etsy, and we sell stuff every once in a while, but I recently, Etsy has done a major overhaul of their platform. And I don't really have any complaints about the functionality of it, with one major exception that has prevented me from cross-listing. And I'm wondering if you guys have any solutions, because it is I was able in the past to cross-list to Etsy, and I had my shipping set up as free because that's generally how we do. 99% of our shipping is free. And then we use pirate ship to ship through Etsy. Correct? Yeah. And so I just set it up that way with our default shipping at 0, and then we would do pirate ship. But now when I try to cross-list to Etsy, it is requiring me to enter the weight of the package. And it's not giving me any other option to do it any other way. And that is a major deterrent for cross-listing because I'm cross-listing older items and I don't want to pull those out of my inventory and weigh them because I don't have the weights saved on any of the items that I would have to like go into our inventory and pull the item out and weigh it.
And it's guesstimate the packaging. And
for the limited amount of sales that we get on Etsy, that's totally not worth it. So I'm wondering if there's a workaround for that I'm just not aware of. Let me know if you guys, any, Etsy sellers that sell on Etsy a lot, do you know a workaround for that? Because that is a major frustration for me.
So you set to free shipping and it still does that?
Yeah. I don't know a workaround for it. And it's probably just because I'm not very familiar with Etsy, or maybe they've switched it to where you can't do that. But I don't know. Because I do know that Etsy, there is a market for people for vintage items on Etsy that we do sell things on Etsy that just don't seem to move on other marketplaces. So I know that if I listed certain things on Etsy that they might be more likely to move there than other places. And I really want to list certain things.
We could do it with when we're doing new things. We could also list to Etsy because we'd have the item out, but we're not post-dating 3,000 checks.
It's frustrating though. So any tips out there, let me know because I would really like to start cross-listing to Etsy again. I just can't figure it out. Okay, so next up was a 2016 Star Wars Captain Poe Dameron. Am I saying that right?
Poe Dameron.
Dameron action figure. He was missing his weapon, so that devalued it somewhat. We got that at a garage sale for 25 cents, and it sold for $14.99.
It's really good for a loose figure with no gun.
I thought so too.
It was really good.
And last up was a vintage Canon electric portable typewriter. It was untested because we did not have the cord for it. We listed it for parts or repair because of that. And we got that for $5 at a garage sale, and it sold for $44.99.
I'm surprised we made 18 bucks off that. That's good.
Yeah, sold pretty fast actually, considering.
And it was fairly easy. I mean, packing them's kind of a pain because they're heavy, but
yeah,
that's it.
So that wraps up everything for this week. Let's go over the totals. We had 23 sales.
That is abysmal.
It is. Sales have been really bad.
That is really bad.
But I mean, in defense of this week, like we have not been listing. We have been so busy, you guys, with like personal stuff. We have had so much going on. Our son is about to go off to college, and we have been planning to hopefully go down and help him and just trying to deal with everything involved with that and other stuff with work that's been keeping us really busy. We have not been listing like we should. So that is definitely affecting our sales. So you'll see that in the coming weeks. Anyway, okay, so our average sale price was $22.82. Our sales totaled $524.75.
That's terrible.
For a net profit of $289.08.
That is bad week.
It's pitiful.
Like that is a bad week. Like $350, I can kind of maybe $400, okay, but wow, $289.
No, it's bad.
That's pathetic.
I think everybody is busy right now, though.
Yeah, I think it's partially because it's summer, partially because we haven't been listing.
There's a lot of factors.
But we had a really good week last week or the week before. We had a great week. So
yeah,
it's hits and misses. That's just how it goes. Yeah. But yeah, we need to start listing.
Well, it's not happening anytime soon.
But it's not going to happen anytime soon. So you're probably going to see several crappy weeks.
In fact, I need to mention that we are probably going to be somewhat sporadic with posting videos over the next few weeks because our schedule's so crazy. So I'm apologizing in advance for that. Just be patient with us, you guys. We will get back into it. Fall will present more opportunities for us to be more consistent. But it is going to be very difficult for us over the next few weeks. So thank you for your patience and your support and all of that. But let us know your opinions on the whole concept of stealing from the poor and keeping stuff out of the landfill. Let us know if you've ever had any experience with anybody accusing you of that out in the wild and how you responded to it. And if you enjoyed this video and if you like keeping stuff out of the landfill, please make sure to hit that like button and that subscribe button. And we will catch you guys on the flip side.